Good morning, and welcome to Your Mind Matters. It's 11:12 on Saturday, December 21st. You're listening to WRULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. I can hear myself now. I couldn't hear. Can you hear yourself?
Yeah. Oh,
Very good. Okay, so
yeah.
we're good.
I sound like a
You sound.
I sound like a 12-year-old boy. I used to always get that. I was like, "Your mom home?" And I'm like, "Hey, little boy, your mom home?" I'm glad you guys think
Joke
that's
of
funny.
the week. Abby owes the joke of the week right now. It's the self-deprecating show where we're going to say all of the things about ourselves that we find funny.
I can roll with that.
We're starting.
I got 2
It's
hours worth
Christmas
of
time,
material.
y'all. That was the best. Oh my gosh, she said, I sound like a 12-year-old boy. And the best
Well,
part
it's
about
that,
it is,
and then I had an old man. He
you
was
don't sound
old.
like a boy.
Well, he said,
I know.
He said at 12. I was 12 years old. He goes, "Don't worry, your boys are gonna find your voice sexy when you're older." And I was 12, and I was like, okay. Just kept playing.
Wait a minute. So it was an old man that said
Old
this
man.
to you. So it sounded like that old man from Family Guy.
Yeah, like the little pervert. Yeah.
Your voice is gonna get better. You're gonna be real sexy by the time you get grown, little girl. That's my only impression. Which is, what's his name? What's the old man's name?
Ketchup.
What's the old man's name?
Oh, Herbert.
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 Yeah.
Herbert the pervert.
Herbert the pervert.
Your voice is gonna get real nice and sexy
when you get older.
That is kind of strange.
See, that's when I leave the camp.
That is kind of strange. Well, Vic, since we're on that, I mean, you've been called a boy on the phone, haven't you?
Oh my God, to this day still.
Because you have a deeper voice.
I have a deep
for
voice.
woman. Yeah, and you kind of like your voice.
I can drop my voice really deep
Yeah,
sometimes.
she's always like, because one of Lisa's friends, see, one of Lisa's friends had a deep voice, and when Victoria was a little girl, she was like enamored with this.
Yes, because I didn't know women could have deep voices like that. And I was like, sweet.
Yeah, she was like a cross between like Barry White and Isaac Hayes. It
Wow.
was deep,
Wonder,
yeah.
And ever since I was a
not a
small
soprano? Are you a
No,
singer?
no.
No, when I sing, yeah, I'm a soprano.
That's another interesting thing. Yeah, a lot of people,
Or am I
like
either
Janis Joplin, who had a
I'm either
very
a
low
soprano
voice.
or a low
Soprano.
alto. I can't remember anymore. It's been a long.
Well, that's
time.
a big difference. High
I
alto,
know.
low alto. I'm
I
like a
think
baritone.
I think I'm not exactly close to baritone anymore. But when I hit puberty, before I hit puberty, I was a soprano. When I hit puberty, it was like my voice dropped.
Maybe that's what that old man meant, because I was like 12 and I just hit puberty, and he was like
Still, he still.
That
I
was
don't know why he
creepy.
went there with.
That's creepy.
How old were you?
12.
12.
See,
I
I
still
would
don't-
leave camp.
I feel like he shouldn't have gone there.
This
I
was
understand
back in 1992.
not that long ago.
Yeah,
I
'cause I'm
thought you were going to say like
22.
1970, and I'm like, yeah, that 1970.
I went to 80, so
But 92 was a long time ago. We're about to enter a brand new decade.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It's a brand new decade.
French fries.
Yes,
So
brand
now
new decade.
CNN will have all the shows on for what were they're going to call it, the 2010s?
Yeah.
That's going to be
Right?
interesting to look at.
The 2010s.
Yeah.
And to look at it. and-
2010 was weird.
But it's funny how it does change.
Yeah.
When you look back at those things, like I was watching a documentary about a debate that happened in '87, and I graduated from high school in '87, and I could not believe our fashion sense was so bad.
Really? You
I was
couldn't
looking at
believe
the
that?
suit, and I'm like, that's straight polyester.
You couldn't believe
I
that?
thought. I know in '87 I wasn't rocking straight polyester.
Well, okay, great.
it's too
But
hot.
look at the styles right now. What would y'all say we are?
Oh
like,
Lord, have mercy.
but I mean, what is like all of us are in what I would say was around in 1980. I mean,
Are you trying to say my sweater?
all
from
of
80?
us. All of us. Look
I'm
at me. I'm
wearing
in
my-
flannel.
I'm wearing my
Flannel is
comfy
timeless.
clothes. Yeah.
Flannels is a 90s thing.
It's
Thank
timeless.
you.
Especially
Wearing
the
it everywhere
grunge.
is a '90s thing.
especially since it's making a comeback
It
in
is
certain
making a
communities.
comeback. But so back to the 2020.
Right.
So like 1900, change of the century.
Right.
That first 10 years compared to 2000, 2010. That first 10 years. Do you think that there's a cycle that's kind of a historical cycle? You know what I mean? Like what went on
I know what
in that
happened
10
in-
years, and if it's comparable to what went on in our 10 years.
I know what happened in 1920 and I know what happened in 1929. I'm not really excited for this anymore.
Right.
Not excited for this at all.
Well,
anymore.
actually, it was great. It was an outbreak of people trying to come into an identity and be rebellious. That was the prohibition, right?
Well, we're seeing that already with Gen Z.
Ooh.
Like in a sense, we're seeing that with like the last end of the millennial train into Gen Z. You know, this is especially with my side of the generation, we crossed the 94s to 2000s. We're lost as heck.
Well, right. And they
I
were
don't know
Generation
if I'm a
X
millennial
was
or a
lost
Gen
too.
Z. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, it's better than Generation Y. Like, why give a. Why care?
Who's Generation Y?
That is the ones right after Generation X. So my brother, 1989 born.
So what about 1969?
You guys are the flower child. Y'all are the baby boomers.
I think everybody that's
Okay,
old is
boomer.
considered a baby boomer.
Okay,
Well,
boomer.
there's just a huge gap. And like when she goes into Generation Z, I mean, they're getting smaller now.
So I don't know what
Generation
generation
Z,
I
I
belong
think,
to.
would be Shania.
You probably teeter on X
look up the
and
generations.
boomers.
Oh no, because I'm gonna get so many different numbers.
I don't care. Just look it up.
Okay, I'm gonna get so many different numbers now. Because I'm telling you
I didn't
that.
ask for pushback.
I do. I consider anybody over 50 a baby boomer, and that could be very insulting because, I mean, not the baby boomers are bad. They are known as our brats. They are, like, they get a
Okay,
lot of
boomer.
crap about what they've done to our economy. And
So see, this is weird. Because see, according to this chart, I'm technically in Gen Z because I'm born '97.
okay.
So you were.
So what's 69?
You'd be the baby bust generation.
The baby what?
Baby
Bust.
bust. Gen X. 65
That's
to 79.
That's me, too.
So the youngest you today you'd be 40, and the oldest today would be 54. So yeah, you
Yeah.
and mom are like right there.
So we're the
we were grunge. We came into the grunge after the 80s.
yeah.
Oh yeah, y'all were the
Where
fun
that's
side.
when we started to have our identities, in that 15 years. So we were rebels too, and Generation X because we felt no purpose. Remember the show Reality Bites? It wasn't a show, it was a movie, Reality
Yeah.
Bites. And it was just about these like 5 kids of what's going on. AIDS was coming, something that was being
Right,
transmitted
right.
both men and women. Gap was huge. Just like the simple Gap wear, but the
Right.
grunge that
Wait,
they
like
had.
Baby Gap Gap?
Like
Gap, yeah,
well,
like the Gap.
Yeah.
Levi's store.
Right. And the grunge music and the
rage
kind
again.
not going to college and, starting to just travel or just be bums, I guess. That's generation.
So I'm part of the bum generation.
We are. But I'd rather be that than what I'm off by, however, I'm born December 6th. So if I'd have waited till
You'd have been in
I'd
there.
have been my brother's generation, which is
I'm the
where
generation
technology is
that
being
eats
introduced.
Tide Pods.
Yes, you are. You're part of that.
Say that
I'm not
again.
gonna say that on
The
air.
generation
no.
that eats Tide
Yeah, because they
Pods.
say it's the
The Tide. See, you don't even know.
You don't know what the Tide Pod? It was
challenge.
earlier this year. Yeah, the Tide Pod challenge, like, because it turned out to be it was like the Gen Z, like people Shania's age, like early teenagers and everything would go around and would
It's like a challenge.
would
Like,
eat Tide Pods.
yeah,
Wait, is that what does it cause you? What does it happen? What?
it's just
A Tide Pod.
I get
just
what it is, but does it
stupid.
kill you?
no, it doesn't kill you. It's just a stupid.
Did it get you
You
high?
get, no, you
No.
get sick. You eat,
It was like
you
the
eat
challenge, like the
detergent,
cinnamon challenge.
which is
Like the
stupid.
water bucket challenge?
No, that was for a purpose.
That was for a purpose.
Oh.
Like the cinnamon challenge was you put a whole spoonful of dry cinnamon on your tongue and pray that you didn't suffocate. I did that one time, never again.
Like setting yourself
Well,
on
that's
fire.
really
Yeah,
challenge.
like setting yourself on
interesting.
fire.
Well, okay, set yourself
The
on fire.
Tide Pod challenge got so bad that there were some stores that actually locked up the detergent.
Right.
You
so
had to
could-
like how they have the the contraceptives in the little box, and you gotta
Yeah.
take them to the.
Oh, you have to
Yes.
get your cold medicine
Yes,
locked up
they
because
did the
of
same
right.
thing with Tide Pods. They would lock them up, and you would have to take that
That
little
is
box.
not a good characteristic for your generation. Not good.
There's a whole bunch of stuff that's not
Now, why are they doing these physical things? And
social
I'm just,
media.
Social media. I think it was like one dude went on the internet and was like, "You guys, hey, guess what? I'm going to bite into a Tide Pod."
Like the guy who had his girlfriend shoot him.
My gosh, you keep
He
going
tried to catch
darker
it
with
his
it.
teeth. Is that guy?
No. He
Oh, he had the
he
book.
had the book, and, he had
And his girlfriend shot and
she
killed
shot
him.
and killed him. Because
The internet's is a bad
Wait,
place.
and they had that on the air?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not
I mean,
on anymore.
it's not. Yeah, I
on
think it got
YouTube.
taken down. Let me see. I'm trying to find the
But
Tide
it's
Pod
like
challenge.
you start a YouTube channel and you're trying to get as many likes as you can because then I guess you can monetize it.
Oh, it wasn't this year. It was last year. The Tide
And-
Pod
and
challenge
what
took
and
off.
what he did was he had determined that I don't know how he came to this conclusion. He was a daredevil, and he would do all these different things
Yeah.
to push
To
the
get,
limit.
like
Because-
Jackass
I com-
or
I com-
whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
because people they'll watch that to see like, okay, and he did it, and she, I think it was like with a Desert Eagle, which was
Which was, yeah, it was.
yeah, and
that was a
and
terrible.
She didn't want to do it. She got convicted, if I'm not mistaken. And then they
Wow.
kind of gave her like, because I think she did prove that he wanted this done, but she was still
Timid to do it, but she did it.
She did
Kind of like
it.
Nazis, yeah.
Right. But I think they were able to prove that, this wasn't like a hustle that she had going, that she really killed him and then said this. No, she had document,
Yeah, they had the whole video was like
evidence.
she was
kept
kind
saying,
of.
I don't
I
really
saw
wanna
the
do
video.
this.
She was real hesitant. He was like, no, it's all right, do it.
And
And then bang.
then, but it's like everything else. You'll push it to the limits. I think your generation had bungee jumping.
Jumping out of planes. Yeah. I did parasailing. That's just about as risky as it gets for me.
Down at the beach.
Yeah. Where you're
Okay,
just behind a
with the tow
boat.
rope. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't think-
God.
I still was like, don't drip me in the water. There's Jaws. I know it.
Some people boiled the Tide Pods.
That's.
I'm reading about it on Wikipedia because
Well, what's the bath salts group? You guys were talking.
Yeah, that's
What's that?
That's the bath salts group with people getting high. That's getting high.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
so these people aren't looking for highs. They're looking for social media
Right.
attention.
You don't
Yeah,
get high
during the
chewing
first few
Tide
weeks
Pod.
of 2018, following the meme surge in popularity, media publications started reporting about teenagers participating in the Tide Pod Challenge. The challenge is an internet challenge in which an individual consumes Tide Pods.
Tide Pod.
Okay, so if y'all watch Netflix,
Yes.
you heard of the show Don't F with Cats.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you see it?
My friend watches it.
It's brutal, but it's all about this. Somebody who wanted such attention, they went as far as killing someone online.
Oh my.
And yeah, it's and it started with them drowning cats
There
online
is a
and
whole
killing cats
horror
online.
movie about that going horribly wrong.
And so this gets to the people crave attention from other people,
Right.
right? Because we get our identity in many cases from what other people,
Looking glass self.
right?
Exactly.
Well, how do we get to the place where people are chewing Tide Pods though?
Forbidden fruit.
Well, because no longer is it a approval. It's I'm going to post this. Wait, see the approval,
And
and,
then-
it's just digital. It's not
Yeah.
real.
And then-
people.
like,
then
like.
tailor my behavior based upon what the likes are. So this is what happened in this case where this guy had his girlfriend shoot him.
Yeah.
The stranger, the more dangerous,
Like
right?
Rhett and Link.
the out of the box that you do, like what?
Right, and like the guys that I show you, like when we stream at home, and I show you the guys on YouTube who like make a giant tea bag out of a person, like that.
Oh yeah, but that's not dangerous. That's just silly.
Well, that's it.
Have you ever
the
bathed in a whole
show.
tub of ranch dressing? That sounds dangerous.
Well,
That's not. I mean, you could be dangerous, but they've got medics and stuff.
The show-
No, they're not really. That's not really dangerous, but
the
it's just
show,
strange,
the show Jackass jumped. That's around when.
right?
I remember when it was still in syndication.
Right, and then that spawned all these other shows, but that was TV. And again, you're not interacting with your television.
Right.
Right. And then they even tried to put that on hold because it was getting so dangerous, and they stared noticing people doing all
Oh,
these
we're
things.
getting another movie in 2021.
Oh, for goodness sake. But now with
I'm ready
YouTube
for
videos,
that.
anybody can make their movie.
Oh yeah, anybody.
And they think they can do it, and maybe it's because of the digital life instead of the outside world life. I could jump that. I could totally see myself
Parkour fails.
going this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, the problem with parkour is you have to keep moving, and a lot of people in the fail videos they do the jump, and I can see the hesitation in their body. I'm like, I know you're gonna hit the wall.
But you
now.
have to think how many fails that are actually. I mean, most of them fail.
Yeah,
These are
most-
not trained athletes. Most of them fail.
Right,
I
but
had
they
a
got
teacher
it from
that did-
trained athletes, so
I
they
had a
go, I
teacher
can do
who did
that.
parkour.
Well, and that goes back to my generation with the wrestling. Watching wrestling, and we had several children, if I'm not mistaken, who killed like their siblings doing wrestling moves that they saw, and they thought, "Oh, I can suplex my brother."
Absolutely,
He
because
lost
it's
their
not
brother.
real.
Lord knows I did.
Well, see, to them it was
mean-
real,
Right, but they're-
but the you're right. They're not going to get hurt, and that goes back to children because they're 10 foot tall and bulletproof, right? They have this belief that I'm not. This is not. And
Every kid that saw Naruto in early 2000.
yeah, and so it's like they'll do all sort of stuff.
2009.
Dude,
But then when you have people now, when children are now watching older adults do the same things for this kind of attention.
I'm gonna watch my big brother set himself on fire
Right,
for
in
all the
bathtub,
internet clout.
Yeah, and they do all sort of stuff that.
Or my sister is gonna bathe in beans.
yeah, so
Well,
strange stuff.
God,
And,
the internet's
what's
weird.
interesting is you still have that. Okay, so peer influence is a major thing. My neighbor's the sweetest little girl, and I've watched her grow up. And anyway, my other neighbor on the other side is post-military. She's got some PTSD issues. She has lots of guns in the house. Anyway, they went, and because of the friend, apparently, the friend was like, "Let's go knock on that door and run."
Oh no.
Yeah, I know, but like I live next door, and I know that she has when she sleeps and her schedules and all that because the
I
woman's
already
kind of
know that's
know.
not a good idea.
right. And she said she knew it wasn't a good idea, but her friend was like, "Come on, what's the big deal?" And it just didn't take much for this little sweet little girl to do something that I couldn't even picture her doing, and it did almost end like it could have ended badly, but it didn't. Point
Almost
is,
ended up on
peer
Fear Thy Neighbor.
influence. So when they do contact with peers, actually, maybe they're even more influenced than say when we were. Because we didn't have the access to the internet and the social media and all these responses, likes and everything. We had to
Yes.
go out in the public.
You had to go out in the public and do it, and then when you had a
And you had multiples
right.
coming at you. Then, like, maybe you realized, well, my friend wanted to do that last weekend and we didn't do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I
Me and
just
my
could be a
friends are
reason
gonna
why-
build a giant pizza in a car,
Yes.
and nothing's. But I'm talking about just in terms of doing things that to anybody on the outside would just be like, why would you
But once again, that's it's all for attention.
like lighting firecrackers in your fridge?
Right. All sort of strange things people are
sounds
doing,
fun.
putting metal in microwaves and all sort of
Lighting
stuff
yourself on fire.
to get, that a child would probably do if a peer tempted them. So like, but it gets
Eat the Tide
amplified
Pod.
because now you have so many more peers
Yeah.
that are sending these likes in and saying, push the
do
envelope.
it.
more,
And they have no
do more.
attachment to it.
And
Yeah.
we have
Right.
influencers on like YouTube and Instagram who do the same thing.
That's it.
Like part of the reason the Tide Pod challenge took off is because you had YouTube. People were filming themselves cooking and eating Tide Pods, and then other people saw that got shared around. It was like, okay, well Johnny did it, and I mean, yeah, Johnny's in the hospital. His mouth is green, but I mean, he's alive.
But
right?
you look how many likes he got.
and they
Right,
got
but look how many
1,000 likes for
he
that.
got.
And does money come from likes? Does it
Yes.
eventually lead to money?
Yes.
Yeah, you monetize it. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
Then you get advertisements, and then you get money.
So these people, ideally, maybe see the goal as being
Right. Yeah.
paid for what they're doing.
Yeah, I think those that are kind of shrewd and can,
I mean, we all thought we would be movie stars at some point. I mean, I know I did.
yes.
And I
yes.
was like, I'm moving to California. And
Now
I'm
it's like,
moving to New York.
and now with that, it's not so much like I want to go to Hollywood and be famous. It's like I want to be YouTube famous.
I don't even have to leave the house. Yeah.
That's true.
Stay home and
Everybody can be famous. Everybody has a microphone.
yeah. Look
now.
at like Markiplier and PewDiePie.
I don't
They
even
play
know you're
video
speaking
games
another
for
language.
a living and make more money than all of us in this room
Sure.
will in 10 years.
And
PewDiePie
but
is
there's
one of the highest paid YouTube content creators I think of this decade.
that's awesome. But
And
there's
that's
the
with the
reason you
scandals.
remember him is because that's rare.
That's true.
It's very rare.
It is rare. And
that's
he's been
with
doing
the
it for a long
scandals.
time. You guys be in the beginning of that. You
Oh
just-
wow, that's
Yeah,
promoting
I think
kids
PewDiePie
starting
was
young.
with YouTube from the beginning.
Yeah.
Or relatively speaking, I think he's been with YouTube for ever.
This is not a indictment of YouTube. We
Oh,
want to put that as a disclaimer.
Considering we're
absolutely.
on YouTube.
And I think it's great
like
that they
YouTube.
jump on there and they make sure that videos don't stay on where somebody gets shot and
Right,
you know.
right. They kind of
They really do that well, yeah.
You're not going to see like a bunch of snuff videos
Right.
on YouTube.
Oh, and I tried to upload a video once and had a music of Rihanna in the background, and they were like, "We can't upload this
Yeah,
because you have to
copyright.
get copyrights." I was like,
Really?
"Let me call
There's a
Rihanna."
way to avoid
Say,
that.
Riri, I need to
say it
use
on
this
air.
song right quick. And I need you to call the lawyers and get this straight
There's a
out.
way to
Hey,
avoid that.
hey,
I'm not
girl,
going to say it
thanks.
on air, but there's a way to avoid that.
Don't say it on air.
I said I'm not
It's
going to.
illegal.
What are we talking about? Pirating?
Yes.
Oh,
Is that
Big
one of
fan.
my words? No, pirating is. You can say pirating.
okay.
You can
I
say pirating.
mean, the things
I
that people
didn't
go
think
to,
that
I'm
was
not
gonna
worried.
work.
If you fall out that chair, I'm gonna laugh.
We're gonna keep going and laugh.
I am going to giggle. Like you would not. If you thought I laughed about that 12-year-old boy thing,
Just
You
for
was-
anybody
fall out the
listening,
chair
I
if you
just
want to.
like spun around in my chair.
Don't do it again.
Underneath the mic.
she's gonna fall out the chair.
Woo!
Down she goes.
What, ADD or ADHD at its
Neither,
finest?
Neither.
Oh.
Retardation.
I got ADD.
And I don't mean that in a pejorative. She's just slow.
Stop. She
Just
is
a
not.
wee bit.
She is not.
Just a wee bit.
she is
See? Only slow people do that.
Well, no.
Okay,
Daredevil,
that's
and we're not on
actually
YouTube, so
Really fun now. That's a lot of
And
fun.
then you get dizzy and fall out or puke. And if you do, you clean it up, and I'm still giggling.
I'm spinning around in the chair and I'm going like underneath
be
the
young again.
microphone.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I like 50.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, for all of the exuberance that I had, it
Hi,
doesn't
Sarah.
really. For all of the exuberance,
My
that,
friends are listening.
I know.
So is that our demographic? Who are your friends? Let's call them out.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Regina.
She's gone.
Woo!
Did you feed her beforehand?
Sit still.
I'm sorry. It's a lot of fun now.
I know, stop it.
Because it's like
Look at me.
doing
Look at pay
what is
look,
the
look,
game?
look right here. Stop.
So back
to pull
to
a
back
Nancy
to
Pelosi
50.
on
Let's talk about some old people
And to pull a
stuff.
Nancy Pelosi on us. Shut it down. Shut it down. We're going to take care of some housekeeping. I'm going to have to give you something to read. I see that right now. I see it right now.
There you go.
Read.
The top one?
Yes.
Yeah. WRUU 107.5 FM is a new and different listener-supported and all-volunteer community radio station for Savannah. Our diverse broadcast and web programming is supported by generous listeners who value our passion and spunk. We are independent of other media and receive no government or large corporate support. People like you are the largest and most important source of our funding. Go to wruu.org to find out how you can make a one-time or monthly contribution. Thank you.
There we go. I think I brought it back to reality for a moment.
That was good.
It's Christmas time, and we wanted to kind of lighten up this because we talk about some heavy stuff. We've been talking about mourning and grief, right? And so I thought for the last half hour of the show, we would talk about some things that people should do to kind of make their Christmas time, this season, a little more peaceful for them. And coming out of Christmas, because, for me, New Year's is the biggest letdown. Right?
Why?
I thought we were talking about up stuff. Okay.
Follow me now. It's like you get all like Christmas is a season, okay?
New Year is like a day and a half.
Right. Christmas is a whole season. So when Christmas comes, Christmas isn't really over because you have family. And
Christmas
you're
starts in
eating,
September,
right?
by the way.
It's not like over. It's not like it is one day you open the presents, and for some people that can be anticlimactic, but for us adults, right?
Right.
I
But-
got a rack.
But then New Year's people get.
But there's a prep of buying the presents, and
Right.
there's the prep of the Christmas parties,
Exactly.
and there's all that. I totally get that. But then for New Year's,
New
it's
Year's
like,
just like it's one day, and then you get there, and then it's over. At 12 o'clock, the ball drops. It's over.
and now we start a new year.
Right. And then guess what you have? If you've gone through the Christmas season, especially if you have children, many people have what we call debt, credit card debt, because the Christmas season had them saying,
I can
let
pay
me
this.
get,
I get
it's-
paid next week.
I
and
really
it's-
want to get this for her.
And it's Christmas time. And our economy is based on consumerism. So, many of these stores between Black Friday to the New Year, this is where they make most of their money. So all you see are ads for buy. Feel good about buying. Feel good, which is kind of
It's the height of consumerism.
right, and it's against kind of many people's best interests, right? Yes, you're helping the children out, right? Because you want to make and your loved ones. Jared is pushing commercials like. It's like you
He
might well
went
be
to
mainlined.
Jared.
They got 3 black guys singing and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
How
and
about
Is that
Pepsi?
Jared or is that
Pepsi,
Kay?
where you can forward the money.
it's not K. It's one of them other ones, but it might
No,
be.
I think
Jared.
it is Jared.
Yeah.
That's a cool commercial.
Like Pepsi, where you can forward it's like, buy a Pepsi and you can forward the cash. Y'all not seen that
I haven't seen
commercial?
that one.
So it's like a giving, but it's also.
It's a hustle. So as far as the charities and things, I think yes, the Children's Hospital, I'm in it for that.
And Salvation Army now is taking the Apple payment and all that stuff now, which is nobody can go, I don't have change.
Salvation Army takes
Exactly.
Apple Pay now.
Like,
Everybody takes Apple Pay
now
This
I
is
have
the
to,
first year.
seriously avoid Kroger
well, right.
because
I thought that too. I was like, I can usually be like, where would I
Yeah,
have
I
my
just
change?
wouldn't I'd not make eye contact at times and just kind of look like I'm looking for. Sometimes I would give change, but there's sometimes I'm genuinely like, yeah, I don't have any change. But now it's like,
You're talking about the kettle people.
yes,
Shame on you.
I don't like people like that.
Shame,
Sometimes
shame.
I'm gonna go back to playing limbo with the mic.
You did you stop? But what I wanted, so some of the things you do. First, I think what I would say, I would let everybody go around and kind of, my thing would be, don't spend getting caught up in the holiday season, but remember, you're going to have to pay that money back.
Yep.
And as soon as that ball drops, the pressure starts. So, get caught up in because by now it's too late. It's the 21st. You've probably spent, but
I
think
haven't
to yourself,
started, but yeah.
if you got the presents, hey, if it's thoughtful, you don't have to
See,
balance
that's
the number. Because we start thinking, I used to do that. I used to, on Christmas Eve, go out and buy 2-3 more gifts because I look under the tree and
yeah.
go, they got 5, and they got 7. I got to buy 2
We,
more. for
we
this
buy
person.
extra just in case
Right.
somebody new comes over and
Somebody-
has a candle or
Let's have
something.
it. And now on the one, that's a good thing if you're not blowing the proverbial budget.
Well,
but if you're doing it, because love is, because once again, we say consumerism, but we're expressing our love for people, our love for our children, our love for our loved ones, family, friends.
through the material items.
And there, I would argue there isn't anything wrong with that. But when you do it to the detriment of your own self, right? Because we say about giving is great, but when you give so much because you're trying to show that love, when not realizing,
then you're overcompensating.
and that goes to the expectations that we have for each other. And that was my big point, is the expectations we have for each other, adults, and let's say adults, because children, we're going to put them to the side. Christmas is for the kids, okay? They can have they're supposed to have that kind of over-the-top expectation.
And it's fun to watch.
Yeah, and it is. We get a whole lot out of
Yeah.
it, watch kids and open gifts.
Right.
But adults, being in that same place, has to say something about how you feel about yourself. If you get one gift instead of 5 and you're disappointed. So if you're in that mind, if you're thinking about another adult that way in your family, maybe y'all should have a little chat. You should, going into next Christmas season, how are we going to manage it? This is what we did as a family years ago because of what I just said. Everybody, we'd have like 40 presents under the tree for 4 people. Okay? That's not including the children.
The kids never complained.
Watches that my wife never wore.
I was just
Mom
going to
was
say
listening.
that.
Right.
The
I know.
things only on TV aisle. My
Right.
mom goes nuts on that, and you
Exactly.
never.
Nobody uses it. And we're not the type of
It's a
people
filler gift.
Right, and we don't
Yeah.
re-gift. We're not the type that are going to re-gift, okay? And so what we did was we sat down as a family and said, okay, for the kids, because they were still children when we did
We're
this,
just
a long
gonna go
time ago.
wild.
But and it was also 2 sets of grandparents, so it was like, do your thing. But for the 6 adults, what we decided was a Secret Santa. 1 gift, okay? Here's your range, and people could put in a hat and say, you put your name in a hat, you put down what you would like, based upon that price range we put. Don't put down that you want a brand new Lexus, because
You're gonna get a Matchbox.
Right, you're going to get a little car. And then everyone would draw a name. If you drew your own name, put it back in the hat, and then that was the person you bought for.
I love that.
And it did a number of things for us. One, it kind of gave us some surprise and excitement. That's who
Yeah.
bought me a gift.
And
That's what we did up through high school too.
Right.
and knowing that person and being like, you have, I don't know when y'all would do it, but you have a longer time to focus on that
We
one.
would do it at
to make-
Thanksgiving.
I mean,
That gives you a month. Yeah, that's plenty of.
And then the other thing was, it took this pressure to make certain make certain I'm expressing my love. That
Equally.
They know right. We said, okay, so I might have to buy for my mother-in-law. My wife may have to buy for
You
her
or-
father.
oh.
It did. You never knew, right? As long as if you drew your name, put it back in the hat. But the other thing it did was it took this pressure off of us. And so Christmas as an adult became pressure-free for me again. So now I wasn't worried about how much money I had, because I knew as a family with 2 people, let's just say, we were going to have to spend no more than $200. Let's just say it was a $100 limit. Me and my wife were only going to spend $200, $100 gift. I had to buy it, $100 gift. She had to buy it, or somewhere in that range. Instead of saying, "Oh, I got to buy for my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, so and so, so and so." And I listen to my patients talk about that, and they do it. Those that have it to do it with this kind of not false, but a kind of, I still got some more gifts to get. Like, it's a little stress. It's a good stress.
right.
But when you don't have, I have a number of patients that I know, they can barely make a copay, and they say, I still got Christmas shopping to do. Wait a minute. Let's back up. You can barely pay for your health care, and you're saying you still have more Christmas shopping to do. And you're not talking about children.
Okay.
Right? I got to buy for so-and-so's nephew.
Okay.
I got to buy for, because I have a big family. That's what they would say. I got to buy. So if I'm not buying for all them people, they got grandparents.
Okay.
Right? So that's the point. What I'm saying is, maybe think about and get together with your adults, not the children again, because children we're going to take off the table. Okay? And I mean children. I ain't talking about 17-year-olds. That ain't a child to me.
Oh.
That's a grown-up.
Like-
once you hit 13, you get a little piece of money.
Oh, I was gonna. Well,
And-
that's
and
what
we-
I was
and we
gonna
keep
say.
it
Yeah,
moving.
like
I
right
feel
up
like
to
you're
freshman
taking the
year of high
joy
school.
out of Christmas, though, and that's a super or materialistic thing that I grew up with.
I'm saying for the kids, Now, if you've got it to do,
No, you don't have it. And I was just going to say,
Go
what
ahead.
about the woman who can't make her copay, can't do this, but she is giving most of her money to the church?
now we're also going to take charity off.
Okay.
We're going to take charitable
But there's
giving
still a
off.
fine line there of like, are you prioritizing your money correctly? Like, not that I can talk about to anybody
No,
because I'm
that-
terrible at
that's
budgeting,
very
but
true.
you know, like maybe you should give 100 less, and then this time you can pay your health insurance or you
That's
can pay
very
your
true.
car insurance
And that gets
instead
into-
of saying I have no money.
That's very true. But when you're talking about faith and religion, especially the Christian faith, I know often that now we're getting into the concept of you sow a seed, and so you're getting that message in many cases from
Oh, totally.
faith leaders to say, if you
You can
and
give.
I've never believed in that. I'm not giving you my light bill. My light bill's not going to
Wow.
the church when I need to pay my light bill. It's not happening.
Right.
And listen, if you do, I'm not gonna. But that's how a lot of people, because what comes with that is this concept that works will get you into heaven.
Okay.
So good works.
So, all right. So take out church.
So we're gonna take church and charities out, because if you
Got it.
give to your detriment and and you're giving to a cause, like say you're giving to the children's
You can kind of
hospital.
justify it.
Sure, and you say, yeah, I might be a little tight, or I might be in debt because I'm doing it, but
I'm helping like
I'm helping,
20 other people.
and that's what that does for my soul,
yeah.
me, my sense of self, my
Can't
mind.
you apply this to Christmas presents?
You can, and that's my point. Should you? Because if you can't express your love to someone else beyond, if you think to yourself with another person, if I can't buy you 5 presents, I think that you think that I think that you think that I think I don't love you enough. Same thing we get with Valentine's Day. We spend all this money on flowers and candy and all these other things for Valentine's
To
Day.
express love.
To express love. When,
Just spending the day together.
right. And I buy my wife flowers throughout the year.
That's
So
it.
when it
That's
comes
it.
Valentine's Day, if she doesn't get anything from me, she know the deal.
And just
she
like
know we
with
got to pay the
that-
light
That's
bill.
another issue with the Christmas. Sorry, you go ahead.
And like with that, I think we have it in our mind that like these big holidays like Christmas, Valentine's Day, this is the only day I can do this. No.
Right. It's
Like
not,
you can like what you said, you give mom flowers periodically throughout the year. It's
Right.
not just one day. Oh, hey, guess what, babe? I love you.
right.
It's
And that's another
every day
thing.
I love you, and
Right.
here's something
Right.
just
and
to
and
show
if it's not
it.
flowers, it's take my
Godiva.
car because your car is not running well. I want you to drive the best car.
I'll do
It's,
the dishes
I'll do the
tonight.
dishes for you because I know you don't feel well.
It's
or
the
I'll
little
cook.
things.
And so we don't add that up, and we don't. So then we get stressed around this time of year because we think to ourselves, "My God, I have people." Even when it comes to children, I'm going to take children, families. I have patients who are so stressed now because, or they'll say it's not going to be a good Christmas. Well, you have your health, relatively speaking. You have your mental health, right? Because you work it. You
And you got us.
you got us. That's right. You got us with a show. You got a home. You're going to eat dinner with loved ones.
You
You're
have people to buy presents for.
right. So why is it a bad Christmas? I never go there with
course
people
not.
in the office, but sometimes I have to. Sometimes when they're so, because it's bringing them down. This idea that I can't buy for my nephews and so on, or I can't give my. And some of them are talking about giving to grown-ups. That's what really got me. That's what got me on the idea, was because I had a patient I was talking to this week that was saying it's going to be a bad Christmas, and that person has grown children and was saying, well, they're used to. And I'm like, well,
They're
that
used
might be
to.
the problem. They're grown. I mean,
Right.
if
Or not
you're-
even used to, maybe financially
Right.
used
and
to.
the question is, it's probably not the children's expectation. It's your expectation of yourself.
right.
And now it's a failing. That's the point.
Right.
It's a
Weird Pavlov
failing.
effect.
You don't want to let them down, so
Right.
you think.
So the consumerism, as far as the nation and the economy, and I really don't have a problem with. I'm not poo-pooing
Sure.
buying and selling, but when you're doing it at the expense of your own sense of self, and it starts to affect your own mood, because you can't do this,
Yeah.
there has to be some acceptance between people that this is the reality of life. You can't, like, only 24 hours in a day, and I tell patients, you want me to try to get you to do 36 hours worth of work in 24 hours? That's unrealistic. The medicine's not going to do that for you. Same thing, you only have so much money. Okay, so if you spend beyond that, you're going to go into debt.
And America's going spend.
Right. So when people like the biggest time for me is this time of the year, because people want to get in and get their medicines because they're normally on vacation. You know when the next biggest time is? February. You know why February? Because they go through the January time frame of
The bills come around.
right.
And that's really interesting. My mom used to say when she worked at Georgia Regional, there would be this increase in women, moms, around Christmas time, who just had mental breakdowns and had to check themselves in. And I'm guessing for similar
Yes.
kind of expectations, money issues, and the like.
And it's money.
And so I'm wondering if is it more women than men you see?
Well, I see more women than men
In
period.
general.
But I think a lot of the men are going through the same things. And I've never really looked at it because I'm always gauging based upon what comes in the door with me because
Sure.
I'm on the ground. But I'm going to look at the studies and things to see.
Yeah.
Come into January shows to get an idea about is there an uptick in things like suicides and what are epidemiologists saying may be the causes?
I was going to say, like a sociology, I can tell you absolutely, but it would be interesting to see the why.
Right, the why. Is it human interaction? Is it loneliness?
Is it a
Is
combination?
it
of it all?
financials?
Right, and we know across the board, financial seem to play a part in everything.
Oh, yeah.
Divorce, death.
Right,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Healthcare, i.e., which leads to death. You know,
Car insurance, as I listened on the previous radio show.
exactly. You know, the idea, the feeling of self-satisfaction, how much money, success.
Gosh, I wonder if the message of Christmas is getting lost in the fact that you're watching someone open the gift and you hope they like it, and that's the excitement. If you take that out, I'm like, okay. Well, you got good food.
Right.
But
Well-
that's like the peak of the,
Well, I
it's
think-
like the birthday cake.
Well, I think the secular idea of Christmas is what we focus on. So I would have to say, certainly. I mean, that satisfies the secular idea of Christmas. If you take the Christ out of Christmas and say December 25th is gift-giving day, okay, yes. I mean, that fulfills it. But, you know, on the other end of the spectrum, there would be those in the religious sphere that would say the whole thing, the reason for the season is Christ. Now, of course, Christ was giving, but I'm certain if you were to consult Christ about your finances and say, should I buy 10 presents for Johnny or one, Christ would say, save your money and give it to the poor
Yeah.
because Johnny's going to get fed.
Right.
Johnny's
Right?
going to get fed.
So
Johnny's
here's
still
what
going to
you-
have heat.
Take your money and go down to the mission and give it to them and feed the poor and the hungry and the widow and the orphan.
And I agree with the church aspect that brings that group together and the same values, and they go, and that's their ritual.
Right.
But so for those who don't, and you don't go to church, but you're whatever, and you trade presents, and that's your peak. Maybe, and I love your idea. I think that makes perfect sense. I just don't see people doing that because it's like they're not. I don't know. They're not going to take the advice, and they should. Like I'm going to propose it to my family, but my mom's not going to have it because she likes to buy all the TV, as you see on TV stuff, and I'm like, Mom, this back scratcher you got me last year.
Right.
I mean, really.
I got two now.
Right.
So what
It's
you
just
hang
the-
one in the bedroom and hang one in the den so you never would
And
have.
but I'm like, but we don't have this money right now. And I know this because we share a bank account.
But you know why she's doing it, right? You know why she's doing it is because she loves you.
And she wants to see, she likes
she likes
it's
to see
just
the joy.
memory
Right.
of all those presents
Yeah.
and I do think that carries on. And I wonder if there's another ritual for those who maybe don't go to church or those who do that can be played out where it's just the interaction. It's the ritual of doing something like a board game or
Yeah.
Or like every year we play Monopoly.
Right,
This is
every
the time
year
of
we
year we
play
start playing
Monopoly.
Monopoly and
We play
Uno
Monopoly.
and Bingo.
That's right.
And that's been a family
Starting point.
tradition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Since me and Junior were kids.
And other things. I mean,
Love that.
And I once again, I don't want to take the spending, the consumerism out.
Right.
But how about the meal? You
My-
know,
I'm ready
Thanksgiving is
for
one
the
of my
ham.
favorite holidays. You know why? Because you don't owe anybody anything.
What is?
It's Thanksgiving.
Turkey.
Nobody comes in my office saying, I'm so stressed Thanksgiving's coming.
Really?
Right.
What
they
about
might-
your cooking stuff, people?
They will say it from that standpoint, but once again, that goes to, man, but I'm stressed because I got all these people coming to my house. And everything.
Right.
But the truth about it, they wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
yeah.
But we get to
Because
Christmas.
Christmas is like,
It's like, what happened to the day? What happened to, because that's part of our Christmas tradition as well. What happened to that time when it was about, I'm going to grandma's for Christmas dinner, and that's the big, because as an adult, yeah, hey, thank you, I got another pair of underwear.
Right.
Because that's all I asked for.
Well,
Right? It's for Christmas.
broke
I want some
college
underwear and
student
some
here, I need
socks.
some socks.
Poor your poor Secret Santa.
Yeah, yeah. But I look forward to sitting down with folks and talking, having a good meal. I look forward to the bowl games.
The ham sandwich.
There's a whole bunch of this season. I look forward to seeing people that I don't see but once a year.
Now, does this? Now, last week we talked about that energy that's given when you do that. Do you feel because it's family, it's less? Oh, we have to go to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's the other thing for me. I prefer to be around people that I know well. Then I'm usually not gonna. I'm not gonna. And that's because right now I have family to do that with. If I didn't, I would still want to be around people, I would hope. But it's a different type of energy when you're around people that you don't know intimately.
Sure, that's when you bring a present.
That's when you bring exactly.
Bring lots of presents. Because then it's also turning into, here's how I want you to perceive me. So I'm gonna bring you.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm gonna bring you a candle. This is how I want you to perceive me. I'm like this.
And that correlation of like, this is my love.
And then your family's gonna be sitting there like, you have never brought me anything at a single time you visited
Right.
me. And this person's special.
Right. That's my mom does end up giving like the person who happened to be like an extra person. They get more gifts than anybody. I'm like, Mom. She's
That's
like, I took all yours and I gave them.
She wears the same size.
Exactly.
So,
I was like, Mom.
this year you're getting a pair of socks.
I haven't done my Christmas shopping. I wonder if I'm trying to justify by saying I don't have the money.
Well, that would be a good justification.
When in doubt, make something.
Oh, I mean, I know. And I obviously, if I have the money to buy a bottle of Jack Daniels, I have the money to
I would say so. I would say
to
so.
buy, yeah. So
I would say so.
I mean, that would be just.
If you had said military special, I would say maybe not. You're just an alcoholic. But if you're buying Jack Daniels, you're drinking good whiskey.
And cigarettes. So
Yes.
I'm definitely able to buy some Christmas presents.
Yes.
I don't know anything about that.
No, because you don't drink.
I don't drink.
Yes.
That's good.
That's a
we
good
talk.
thing.
I feel like we hit on alcohol.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Right before Thanksgiving.
And so that'd be so. What would you want to? Is there anything you want to put out in the ether to people about this time of year to do or not do?
I am so on board with that because you hit the nail on the head with gifts, and is that like how we are showing love instead of actually talking to our nieces and nephews and talking to Uncle so and so and getting to know them because it's life. That's life. Or getting to know them or just reconnecting with them.
I read a meme. Yesterday. I thought it was so poignant. It went something like, we always want to give our children more than we had, but that translates into material things instead of giving them what we didn't have, which is knowledge. Because that's where wisdom comes from. Time, right? That's more important because now you're enabling your child to
also follow that pattern,
right, and point out the different pitfalls in life that you didn't fall in, that you fell into,
and you don't want to see them.
And that's more important than saying, "Hey, here's a." But once again,
different strokes for different folks.
Right. I'm not an indictment on gift giving. I'm all about gift giving because if you're giving to people in love, please give.
I mean, my belief with gift giving is I go back with you. Like, don't bankrupt yourself to try and prove that you love someone.
Right.
I mean, especially if it's like your close family and everything, they know you love them.
Right.
Of course, but it also is like that gratification of like, I know
That's
he really
true.
wants this. I know he really wants
Right.
this. I can't wait.
And that's the other end of the spectrum, right? Understand that you have to forgive yourself and not feel like you're a failure if you don't have it to play Santa Claus.
Absolutely. And if you really want to budget all year for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And
that's
again,
a good one.
I'm a
Like
terrible.
in January,
I have
starting January.
terrible skills in money, so I'm not trying to tell anybody how to budget their money.
But-
and I would never.
But that's a good idea.
But like, yeah. So next year, it's like, I saved up all year. But then, of course, if you're a regular old family, they may have bought it by then because somebody else got it to them just for a regular old day or whatever.
As somebody who's been here, there's nothing wrong with duplicates. I have 2 pairs of the exact same booty slippers, and
That
I'm
one
like,
pair
I got one in
wear out.
Savannah and one in North Carolina.
Right.
I'm not complaining.
I've got two roasters, one in Georgia, one in Savannah. So it works out.
One
Wow.
is Georgia and one is Savannah.
Yeah, I keep
They're in
one,
2
so I
different
don't have
places.
to tote it back and forth.
Georgia and Savannah are not the same thing anymore,
My
you
deep
guys.
fryer, I got one in Georgia, one in Savannah.
Well, you guys
He's
have
gonna
2
keep
homes.
repeating it.
Yes.
But even at that, look at it like I am prone to losing things. So I know in my case, I have like multiple copies of like the same book, and I'll find it, and I'm like, hey, I've been looking for this. And 2 weeks later, I'll find the other copy. Oh, hey.
You guys just have to walk in my house and you'd understand where I am at. I live like the storage unit. What's it called? The hoarders.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Right here.
We understand that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Believe me.
Fully.
So it's like if I got 2 of something, one doesn't work, and I keep it around because I'm trying to fix it, and then I
Right.
got my other one.
You might be able to salvage parts from that
Oh,
one.
but I am a
And it's also
recycler. Oof.
nostalgia.
Yes. Nostalgia is what leads to hoarding.
Yeah, because Lord
It's a
knows
dirty word.
It's
to
a
horse.
hell of a drug.
Yes.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
It is a hell of a just
Lord
like
knows
cocaine.
I can't get rid of some things.
It's like cocaine. What would you want to say to anything to give people around this holiday season?
You know,
Yeah.
if you especially like with the gift giving, if you really want to give somebody something, but like I have a friend who's really dear to me, and I can't always buy her things because of her allergies and X1Q. So this year I made her 3 paintings
I hope she's not listening.
because I know she got them already,
Oh.
but because I know she loves space, so I made her 3 like galaxy and nebula paintings, and I emailed them to her, and she was like, "Oh my god, I really love these," and that made me feel good. One, because I knew you liked this. And
Right.
for me, I like to be able to make my friends gifts more than I like to buy them stuff.
Exactly.
So I buy you something, you might lose it. You
and-
might forget it. You might.
And so that means
Mm.
all of us have a talent.
I was just gonna say, what about somebody
Whether
who
it's-
doesn't have a
But
skill?
everybody does. Whether it's a good word, whether it's acceptance of someone, which
letter?
helps you, a letter, a poem,
Cake.
you know, a cake,
Vicky
or
like cake?
sometimes, truthfully, sometimes it's picking up the phone
And say, hey, I was thinking about
because we're
you.
always texting and picking up the phone and say, "Hey, you know what? You're on my mind."
Yeah, see, and I
love
think
you.
that's what the gifts do. They kind of say,
They do.
"You're on my mind."
You're on my mind.
A thoughtful,
Right, but if you don't have the bread to do it, pick
Then
up the
you're
phone
gonna
and
have
call
to-
somebody.
right.
Call them and say, "Hey, man," and you don't have to start with the disclaimer. I'm doing this in lieu of. No, this is my gift to you. What's wrong with that as a gift?
Right.
Right, because that.
And do you think people don't want to give that? They'd rather just go into debt by giving a
Sometimes.
physical item.
Sometimes
I think because for
it's
some
hard.
people, that physical item in our minds translates over better to like, hey, I love you so much. I went out and I bought you the roaster you've been wanting since
Right.
October.
Versus, hey, so
How you doing?
yeah,
You feeling all right?
yeah.
So what does that
Spoke
say
to you for
again,
20
again
minutes.
about us?
Oh.
That a kind word.
Humans are weird.
Well, we are. We're very complex.
We're becoming more detached, and that's
right.
sad.
Texting, as long as I send one mass text out to everybody because I'm not called. My dad used to say that. I used to think this was so irritating. And I'll tell you why, because when he would call people, he'd hand you the phone, like, talk to so-and-so. I'm like, I don't know who they are.
Oh,
So I just
God.
learned how to just say, hey,
How
what's
you
happening?
doing?
How you doing? What? Right on.
I
Well,
pretend
look,
I've known
Merry
you for
Christmas.
20 years.
Right? But what he would do is, he was old school. He used to wear a shirt with pockets in the front, the regular button-down
Yep.
shirt. And he had this, and I still have it. He had his address book. And he would sit down on holidays like Thanksgiving to Christmas, get him a drink. He'd sit down, open that book. And he would start, and from like 10 in the morning to 10 at night, he's calling people. Hey, I just, thought about
That
you so-and-so.
exhausts me just thinking about it.
Now,
How terrible is that?
But we have email. We can do it now. Instead of sending a blast email to everybody, send an individual one of these people. Take
I
the
do
time.
virtual cards.
Yeah, do
no, I love the phone call. I
make a
love
phone.
it.
But it does, and that's why. See, we've gotten to the point with expending that energy. Because we learned that, okay, I don't really want to, because I could get you on the phone and you might stay on the phone. I really don't want to talk. I just want to say, hey.
I was hoping I could just leave a message.
Right. I was really hoping you wouldn't answer. But
Really hoping you were stuffing your face.
But what does that do to us as far as staying connected? I've got people that will tell me, don't send me forwarded emails, forwarded things.
Sure.
Don't send me a forwarded thing. I'm not that person because I have that understanding about people. If I'm on your list of people to think about, because like when I go through mine, I know who I'm going to send what, if I'm going to forward something. Everybody's not getting, because they ain't made for everybody. Some stuff ain't made for everybody.
No.
But if you get one that's talking about a male, but you're a female, you have to say to yourself, like, did you just mass click?
Yeah.
Did you
You're
read
trying to connect without even doing it properly?
it? Exactly. So pick up the phone, call somebody,
Call somebody. But
go by the house.
But again, that we didn't have that mass text that could mean the world to more people.
Exactly. So do it as well. Do it.
It's
do
like
it.
such a
So
conundrum.
wrap it all together and do as much as you can because being connected is what the
Connected.
season is all about.
That's what the
You know.
message is, I think.
And
Connected.
for yourself, I would say another for you, and I thought about it this morning. I'm not going to belabor the point, but acceptance over tolerance. We often will say, you think to yourself, you accept different things about your loved ones, but really, do you accept it or are you just tolerating it?
Mm-hmm.
And moving from, for me, for this season, will be moving from tolerance to empathy, more empathy and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
because what it will do for me. This is my gift to me. The gift to me is so I don't get frustrated with the people that I love because I'm saying that I've accepted them the way they are, but I really haven't. I'm just tolerating it. And when you tolerate something, you've created an image of that person, and they're not living up to it. And you know they're not living up to it, but you're not living up to it, your image either. And so this is my gift to me. I say, hey, if you're just tolerating people, you're getting frustrated, you're having to tell people, or you're saying this, why are people are people. Stop asking why. Okay? It's not your job to figure out the why in many cases. It's to figure out what you're going to do in relation to it.
90% reaction.
That's it. And accept. So that's my gift to me. My gift to me is to learn to accept
Not just
more than just tolerate. And I realized just this morning, I had an epiphany.
Ooh.
That's a big word.
From the good Lord. He touched my soul and said, you're not accepting. You're tolerating. That's why you're so angry. And I said,
deep.
wow. And not that I'm not raging.
No.
Not at this moment.
I've
I mean, I'm human, but I had to come to realize why does this bother me about you? Why? Why does it bother? This should not affect me that way if I accept you. Because on the back end, I see all of the other things that balance, right? We look at people that we love and we have to have a balance.
Sure. Okay, so how do you move forward from tolerance to acceptance?
First, you have to realize that that's what you're doing, that you're not really accepting. We'll say that, well, hey, for example, my wife's thing is, I can stand it if you can stand it. So I'm just going to throw my hands up. Well, that works for people that you don't care about. But how I can tell that it doesn't work for people you care about is because you keep coming up with it.
Yep.
So you keep mentioning the same
You keep coming
thing.
back to it.
And I'll use the example. For example, Victoria does not putting the jacket on, like coming down without a jacket on. And my wife, every time, she's like, are you layered? Are you so
I'm not going to tell you what to do anymore. You're grown.
I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Mommy,
you're
you mention
grown.
it twice a day, every day.
And so I said to her
if you
today,
weren't going to care, you
right.
You really care.
Well,
I'm your
she's
kid.
grown. She's grown. Let her do what she wants to. But you're still frustrated. You're frustrated because you haven't accepted that. Now, in this case, we're talking about something that you're not going to accept. That's something you shouldn't accept because that has to do with her safety and her health.
And I got my jacket.
So stop saying you're accepting it, right? That's not something you're going to accept. I'm not going to accept my loved one doing something that would be detrimental to themselves or myself. But how many things aren't? For example, for me, my wife watching the Hallmark channel. When I come in the room and that Hallmark channel is on, it's like God, right? But I had to ask myself this morning, why? This makes her happy.
It gets more of the holiday spirit.
Because it's not
brightens her mood up.
Right.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily bring my mood down.
Right. It doesn't hurt you. It helps her.
Right. It was my expectation of her.
Or like what Juno
like,
was doing
shouldn't you be
on
watching
game.
something about history? Shouldn't you be watching the news? Shouldn't you be trying to get more informed about
But see,
life?
that's what you like to do.
That's my point.
You can't push what you like onto like
Sorry.
mom or Junior.
Right.
Like when you get in the car and you instantly turn from the Christmas movie, you turn to NPR.
And that's what I'm
in the car
saying.
like, but this is how I get my day started.
And that was my point because it was beyond me. I like Christmas music. I can listen to it all day long. I can do a whole bunch of. I'm not the type of person. I had to realize that this is not about me not liking it. It's about
what I want to do.
Right. It's about me not liking what you're doing. Why does that bother me? Because I'm not accepting that of you.
That's a good. Okay.
I'm tolerating it. And see, if you tolerate something, and this goes to a broader sense of people in general, we talk about tolerance. But really, let's talk about homosexuality, for example, real quick. Tolerance or racism. We need to practice more tolerance.
Right.
Why should we talk about you tolerating me?
Right.
If we go to the premise of you accept my existence and my freedom to exist, it's not a harm to you. But as long as you use that word tolerance, you're saying it's an irritant.
Yep.
So you have to ask yourself this question: why is your existence an irritant to me if it doesn't affect me? So if let's say homosexuality, we talk about tolerance. Why is you being gay? How does it affect me?
Right. How's that hurting me?
No more than me being on a
Doesn't affect
diet and
me.
you eating a donut.
And so then those in a religious sphere will point to the general.
But that still doesn't affect them.
But it really doesn't. Actually, it doesn't affect them. They'll bring it to a whole cosmological perspective. The world is affecting the world. Your behavior, amoral behavior, is affecting the world, and God is going to judge us.
Sure.
Well, last time I checked, and I read that holy book, He don't judge us. He judges you and me. Because you can't atone for mine, and I can't atone for yours.
Right.
What you do is going to affect you, what I do. But once again, that's an indictment of an entire group of people's behavior that we can say we tolerate crime.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
That's we tolerate this because we tolerate it because we can't lock people up for little things, right? We don't lock. We tolerate.
Well, we're not going to accept it.
But we're not gonna accept murder.
Right.
We don't tolerate.
Well, we're not going to accept being mugged, but
Right.
we tolerate. I've been mugged twice.
But I mean, I'm gonna say non,
Violent.
like white collar crime. We
Okay.
tolerate white collar stuff.
Pirating?
Pirating. We tolerate a black market.
Shh,
Right.
I don't think we're even allowed to say that word.
What, black market?
Or I'm thinking black web, dark web.
No, we can say it.
My mom's always like, "Don't say dark web."
Oh, we can
They're
say it.
listening.
They're the
It's
list
not-
of
it's not
words
on
we
the
can't
list.
say.
You can't say.
No, y'all missed.
But my point is that's what hit me. Are we tolerating one another? Are we, from a personal sense, your love or ask, are you tolerating that? Because as long as you tolerate, it's an irritant.
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself why is it an irritant?
Mm-hmm.
And in my case, I had to come to realize it was because of me. It's like, for example, in a marriage, if I use the concept of being one flesh from a faith point of view, on the same accord. But we're different individuals for a lot of things. The core, we're on the same accord. Mm-hmm. My wife and I are on the same accord about taking care of our children, about, for the most part, finances, because it boils down to we have it, we don't, we don't. She tells me if we don't. But then there are all these other things. I choose to spend my leisure time doing certain things because that's what I want for me. I have to come to the acceptance that you choose to do what's in your leisure because in some way it gets you through the day.
Right.
And if I don't look at why, if I'm just judging, I'll give you another example. Victoria has a septum ring, the nose ring thingy, right?
Yeah.
She has no hole there because she can't get pierced. It's a clip on. And every time she puts it in, I see it, I'm like, oh, I hate septum rings. Now, I can say that to myself all day long. I shouldn't say it to her. Here's the reason why.
One, I'm going to respond out of spite.
Yes. But the other thing is, then as her father, I'm putting in her mind the judgment of not only me, but other people. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, every time I see it, so then she walks down the street with it, and she may say to herself, I wonder if they think that they hate it just like my dad. So I had to ask myself, why? Why? It's not a problem for me. It's not affecting her health.
Nope.
Now, I would speak up about it if she tried to get her nose pierced because she gets keloids. But she doesn't. She doesn't want piercings.
I want tattoos, but that's a different.
So,
that's a different fight.
if she would paint her hair pink, or she would, if it's an expression, her self-expression.
As long as it's not getting in the way of work or
Right,
money
right.
or
as long as
something
it's not
like that.
putting myself in some
It
kind
could be
of moral
harm,
danger.
right? But as a father, that's where I should end. But because she is an extension of me, I feel comfortable enough saying it. But should I? No, and I apologize. I came to the
Aw.
conclusion this morning that I should not be critical of things that are of no importance. And so ask him, is this important? Is it important for me to say to you, you put on that outfit, it's important for me to say, man, that don't go together. Unless, now if you ask me, hey, do you think this? I say, well,
Like yesterday, me wearing the shirt over the dress.
right. And you said to me, you're wondering about my outfit. I was
You're
like,
probably judging it, aren't you?
I was like, not really.
I can feel your judgment.
Because I know how you dress. I didn't see that. But when I see that septum ring, it has like a visceral thing because but there are
perceive it as a bull.
there are millions of people, men and women, who like it. There have to be a lot of men who like septum rings. There's a bunch of women that wear them,
Yeah,
right?
but you don't.
I don't. But once again, was it important for me to express that to her? Not really. It was important to me. Why? Because
It was kind of selfish
It
of
was-
you to do that.
that's the word. It was selfish.
Yeah.
And so going through the holiday season, my gift to me is to not be selfish to the ones I love.
I like that.
Right? Because what it does is it keeps my level of frustration down. And once I get to the point of accepting something, just like the sun's going to come up, I accept that. I accept. When I accept, it means that you have the right to do. Now, once again, I'm always going to be a father.
Yep.
She's always going to get from me some direction.
Yep.
Because my job to have the wisdom to say, don't go that way, there's a pothole.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's not a pothole, I'm going to try for 2020 to keep my mouth shut.
I'm going to test this theory with you.
And I'm going to tell you one reason, because I love my father to death. Closest person to me as far as a man. My mother's my mother.
Right.
That's all the ball game. But my father could be very critical about little stuff. For example, why are you going this way instead of that way? Because I'm driving. Yeah, but you miss all the lights if you go this way. And he would get irritated, and I would be, why does it matter to you? So one day he was hollering at me in the car. I'm sitting right next to him, and he's hollering. And I looked at him and I said, I'm sitting next to you. You don't have to holler at me, which offended him because he was my father. So then he went to father and son. And so now he's projecting father and I'm projecting little boy. Now I'm getting angry. And he says, I can holler at you when I want to. To which point it could have escalated, as it had often done between me and Roscoe. Loved him to death. But at that moment I realized I did not have to be a little boy. I was a grown man. I had a choice. So I had two choices, in my opinion, at that moment. I can let you holler at me, which is hurting my ears, because my dad could be very grating, or I can get out of this energy. So I pull the car over. I put it in park. The hospital there, my mother was working at the time. I said, you can holler at me whenever you want to, but I don't have to listen. I'm grown. I got out the car, walked around the back, walked across the hospital, and rode home with my mother. That de-escalated what would have turned into something much, much bigger.
See, that seems like
What was his
something
response?
I can't try that with
Disbelief. And then a sheepish apology when he got home from wherever he went. Because he realized I had done nothing wrong to him. If he felt offended, it was on him. I just got out of the situation.
And
I
that was
grown.
that's not what he was expecting.
That's not because what he was expecting
expecting a
was me
fight.
Right.
to respond back
back.
in kind, which I'd always done.
Right.
You know, I'd always been free to say, hey, wait a minute. You could argue to a point with it. Then when I became a man, I could argue as long as I wanted to once I was grown. But it would often lead to what happens with men, which is a sense of challenge. And that was never my intent. It was just to fight out of my own being a child. And so often that's what happens. You're not who you are, you're who you were. The pain body.
Right.
And if you live in the pain body, you will do all. This is where we get a lot of this violence within homes between people. You know, fathers shooting sons and brothers, sisters killing sisters, and all this. All of this pain body, this past. It's not who you are. That's the past.
And then the holidays, bringing it together, the nostalgia makes you want to get right into those roles.
You want to and we see movies about it. There are tongue-in-cheek comedies about, and some dramas about the pain of coming back together at Christmas and then the bitter and going through it and the conflict. Then they come out. That's the human condition, but there's no panacea for no fix exactly. But to say that's not me.
Right.
I don't have to be there in that situation.
I would say, there's not a fix, but I think that all boils down to try something different.
Try something different.
Try something different.
Yeah, and for yourself.
I mean, if unless you find it fun to play those roles.
And some people do.
And they do.
Or not just fun, or they find it cathartic. People will often say, I got to get it off my chest. Why?
Selfish.
Once again. Because you don't know any other way. Because we live that way. We live words are very important, and words ring in our mind. And I have patients that I don't know why I can't get rid of this anger. Well, it's not really it's the anger but it's driven by what your mind keeps telling you. Look at what your mind is telling you, because your mind is telling you you're a child again and you're being abused. I can promise you one thing: you're not a child. I'm looking at you. You're 35, right? But if you're living in that child pain body, if you're living as that little child, and once again, this is an automatic thing that the mind does. But your mind and your brain, projection of a mind, and you are different. The brain does all sorts of crazy stuff. Perfect example is dreaming. You can no more dictate what you dream about. I mean, people have gotten to the point like I can not dream about certain things. until like a week later when I let my guard down and I'll dream about it.
Right.
Right. But you go into your dream, you don't know what's going to happen in that movie.
Right.
But it's you.
Yeah.
It's you. So, but it's your brain projecting images to your sense of self, your consciousness. Right?
So not in the dream world, in the family reunited, you're gonna want to fall back into that
Right.
dynamic.
But it's natural.
But it is but you can be aware because you aren't in a dream.
Right.
You're in reality.
You're in reality. You're in the now. Stay right here. That does not exist.
Don't bring up stuff from the past.
Right, because it doesn't exist.
Right.
That people bring it up because you're still living it. That's the pain body. The emotional pain body is the past. That pain that from the past. We carry it. We call them memories, but they're not. Memories are images of what happened before. It's the emotion.
Feelings.
That's the pain body. Like I can remember something bad that happened to me, and if it's not affecting me today, I can tell you about it all day long. I can tell you about an accident that I was in. I can tell you about it get blown up in Iraq, for example, which happened, right? But because it did not affect me today, it doesn't affect me. I did get hurt physically. It didn't hurt me emotionally because I didn't know we had been blown up, right? I thought something happened to the vehicle, but actually, we hit a small mine.
Well, and there's no unresolved issues there.
So now we get, right, what we class resolve versus so resolve it. Resolve it with the fact that you're not the pain body. But that gets into concepts of the mind and consciousness and the belief. Like people say, I'm afraid I'm losing my mind. Where are you? I'm right here. You're afraid of losing your sense of self. So if your sense of self must be separate from you, if you can comment on it.
Interesting.
Right? I'm afraid I'm going to lose my mind. Or I talk to myself. That's another entity. If you categorize it in your brain, if you say you are one but separate, your brain does a whole bunch of stuff, just like my heart does a bunch of stuff. My heart beats on its own. It's automatic. We don't look at the brain because the brain's not a muscle.
Right.
So we don't say it's a involuntary muscle. It works on its own. But it's an organ of water and fat and protein. And we really don't know how it works, but we know that if you damage it, there's certain things we can't do.
Right.
We can go back from deficit to what the function is. But what's the function of the mind?
Right.
And is the mind you, which is consciousness.
Right.
And you are where? Right here. You're not 20 years ago. So if you stay right here, if you focus on being right here and experience what you're feeling, and experience in the now, then you won't translate it into the pain body. But if you start going back, because it will, once again, this is not an indictment on people's ability. This is how we normally function because the past teaches us about the future. So we avoid certain things. That's how we learn. That's how we stay safe. But it's also how we stay in pain. Because, right?
Sure. We recreate what was in the past when we think this is going to happen, and it happens because the mind is...
That's why we get worried. Right, people that don't really worry a lot, it can be. Sometimes there are people who've been through an enormous amount of trauma. I found the idea that those who don't suffer with a lot of anxiety aren't people who've been through. I have people that have been through a lot of trauma, emotional, physical trauma, and don't
have
worry.
Anxiety.
What makes them different? It's how their brain functions. So then you have to adjust to how your brain functions. Their brain still says life is good. We have others who, to most people. And they would even say, that's silly. I never say it's silly because your pain is your pain.
Sure.
Right? But they would say, that's silly because it's small. I got it. It's small. But the reality is they're still stuck in that
reliving
loop.
Yeah.
To get out of that loop is to say the only thing that's real is right now, right this moment. This is the only thing that's real. Now that's truth. That doesn't exist. It only exists in memories. It only exists in a concept of a pain body, and it can manifest itself as you reliving that person, and that's human nature. So you have to adjust to how your brain works. right?
And this can be a positive too, right?
Yes, that's the point. The point is to be able to. Well, the actual, yes, the positive.
Pain, but I meant
yes,
okay.
because it teaches us. It provides things like empathy for others. I felt that, so I can look at your situation and say acceptance. All of those things. That's positive. That's all the positives. The negatives are worry,
Victimization.
despair,
Like being a victim.
I like the pain body because victimization. The word sounds like
Stigma.
Stigma is you're doing it to yourself.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And I try to get away from that because once you get in that, then people start feeling guilt and shame.
You're right.
Right? Like a good friend of mine once told me, guilt is a useless emotion, and it's true. After age 5 or 6, the concept of guilt, you already know right from wrong. If you don't, if you don't know right from wrong, something's wrong with you. And if you don't accept it, then you're antisocial. If you don't care.
Right.
All the rest of us, how much energy do we use up with guilt?
A lot. I guess I have to understand this guilt is a useless emotion because guilt could also, get you to return an item you may have stole.
Okay.
So that's a positive.
Yes, I would say that would be an instance of a positive. You gave something back that you stole.
But guilt, I get it as useless energy because it's like
Inappropriate guilt. If you do something you're guilty for, the feeling of it should drive you not to do it again.
Right.
But much of it is this feeling I did something I shouldn't have done, or I didn't do something. And more often than not, it's something I didn't do something. I didn't live up to something, so I feel guilty about it. And then it drives behavior. I don't want to do that because I'm going to feel guilty. I don't want to confront that person because I'll feel guilty if I hurt their feelings. Well, you shouldn't. Let's go to the premise. You shouldn't hurt their feelings because you don't want your feelings to be hurt. But right, you shouldn't need guilt to do that. So I use different words. Words are powerful because when you start saying I feel guilty, over time you start that's feeling bad about what you did or didn't do. Then you start feeling bad about who you are. That's shame. Now you're ashamed of who you are. You don't like, and once you get the shame, that's a slippery slope into depression.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Right.
Right.
But
on.
we're way over time. My fault. I'm sorry.
No, I like that. I liked how you wrapped it though, because I was a little like.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. If you're feeling guilty about something you did wrong,
right,
you can make amends for it.
Oh, absolutely.
That drives that.
But I'm also kind of got out of. I know you see patients, and I got to remember that the mindset's different than where I've been all week just watching TV and so I haven't been like in the minds of in the mind part, and that makes sense. My mom visiting Uncle Scotty, guilt. Remember. This is why we got to get Tim Marie on the show is for that caregiver whole lecture she does. It is so good. But it's just that guilt of you not going. Is it because you don't think that somebody else can do it? I mean, there's all these other factors, but it made me think about how it does make her feel ashamed, and it brings in a depression.
Right.
Totally.
Right. It's I'm bad. You're not bad. Not at all.
Yeah.
90% of people are not bad.
That's debatable. Just kidding.
No, I would say they do bad things, but they're not bad. I would say 10% of people are bad. Just bad seeds.
Like, okay.
And I'm throwing that out for the next for the new year. We'll bring that in the new year.
Oh yeah.
If she limbos on that one more time, I'm gonna choke her out.
No, we're not. She's not hurting herself. Don't be selfish.
See? You that right on. You spotted it because I was about to go. What? She's working my nerve. Oh, it's Christmas time. It's the 21st.
It's nice core
Merry
exercise.
Christmas.
Yes,
Merry
it is.
Christmas.
That's good core exercise.
We'll work. Maybe it could lead to something. We could. That's how the sock guys invented socks, bombas.
Yeah,
develop
and
something.
the lady who had the thing between her legs that like
Oh, yeah.
what's her name?
the Thigh Master.
The Thigh Master. That was
What's her name?
Susan
Sarandon?
Susan Summers.
Summers.
Yeah, Susan Summers. Susan Summers.
Suzanne Summers.
Suzanne Summers. There we
Sorry.
go. There we go. See, it takes a
Props
couple
to
of
our
brains.
Suzanne Summers.
Yes, props to Suzanne. She's still living, isn't she?
I believe
I'm pretty
so.
certain. Yeah,
I'm hungry.
I'm pretty certain.
Anyway.
And every show with I'm hungry.
Just to keep you on track.
Yes. But you listen to Your Mind Matters on WRULP, Savannah, Georgia. We went over time, but we started a little bit late. So we kind of, hopefully they don't get mad with us, but we were on a roll, so we kept going.
I'm glad, because if we'd have stopped, I would have been like, wait.
Yes.
But now I got it.
And so thankfully the station is generous with their time with us. If there's nobody
thank
right
you.
on top of us, we'll be listening to Y'all will be listening to classical music in a minute, but we want to thank you for listening to us today for the show, Your Mind Matters. And
When is our next show?
January, thank you. We'll be out for the Christmas holiday. We'll be gone the 28th, and again the 3rd, 4th, 5th, no, the 4th. We'll be out the Saturday, the following Saturday, and we'll be back.
We'll be at like the 9th or something. Or
Right.
Yeah,
4th,
whatever
8th,
date
9th,
that
10,
is.
11th. The 11th, is that the 11th?
Yeah.
Yeah, after the New Year. After the New Year.
Yeah. So bring in it's 2020. I mean, like you said, it's the new decade. This is
New decade.
but don't set your expectations too high. It's little
It's
by
time
little.
to bring back flapper dresses.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's get it.
And let's learn the Charleston.
Yes.
And you know what?
I could
Ballroom
do it as a
dance,
kid.
some dancing, right? We need to have more dance clubs. People can learn how to dance. And, dance where you're holding each other, not just shaking. Everybody's shaking something now.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Twerk.
I
Twerking.
can shake my belly.
There it is.
Like I can twerk with my stomach. I'm that fat.
Oh,
I can't do either one.
I'm the inverse of Lizzo.
2020 is a new decade.
Yep.
And we're going to do the best we can and make the best out of a brand new decade and a brand new start. I hope y'all do the same thing. Thank you for listening to Your Mind Matters on WRUU LP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with Global Soul.
I want it that way.
God bless and Merry Christmas.